Welcome to Hope with Jonathan podcast, where we share stories of hope. My name is Jonathan Traylor. I'm a 15-month kidney transplant recipient who faced a near-death experience back in July of 2019. I had a lot of different symptoms: chronic fatigue, swollen ankles, couldn't breathe very well, and really nauseated. And I stayed in the bed for days of what I thought was fighting the flu. No, it wasn't. It was complete kidney failure, guys. Stage 5 ESRD. Within a few days, they removed about 30 pounds of fluid, and I had to ride in a helicopter to get dialysis treatment to save my life. Listen, guys, we now try to educate people, inspire, and motivate through the power of sharing your warrior story. If you like stories like this, stay tuned. Hope with Jonathan podcast is a Hope Media production. Never let hope become a memory. Hope with Jonathan podcast is a Hope Media production. Hope with Jonathan podcast is in collaboration with Impact America Media, where we give hope to patients to continue on, stay motivated, inspire, and encourage them to continue in the journey. For more information on Impact America Media, please visit impactamericamedia.com. Again, Hope with Jonathan podcast is in collaboration with Impact America Media. Hey guys, welcome back to the Hope with Jonathan podcast, and I'm your host, kidney transplant recipient Jonathan Traylor, host and founder of the Hope with Jonathan podcast. And on this week's episode of Hope with Jonathan, we bring you the question: can kidney stones cause kidney failure? And on this broadcast, we had some amazing guests on our show. Melanie Betz, the kidney dietitian. You can check out her website over at kidneydietitian.org. Also, we had the amazing kidney transplant recipient Jen Benson, founder of Transplant Journeys. You can go check out her website at transplantjourneys.org. This was an amazing podcast, amazing broadcast that we did featuring kidney stones, talking about the effects of kidney stones, dietary do's and don'ts, foods that will definitely enhance kidney stones and aggravate kidney stones. And we talked about all kind of aspects of kidney stones, repeat episodes with kidney stones. Are kidney stones more prevalent in men and women, which actually we never did really find that question out until after the podcast. I'll go ahead and answer that podcast or that question now. That question is actually men are more apt to be getting kidney stones. It's really close in the percentage with women, but with men, it seems like the diet choices are a little bit more salty,
little bit more cholesterol and things like that. And all of those, sodium plays a major role. Also, high acidic foods, foods that are high in cholesterol, things like that. So those type of foods can definitely bring on kidney stones. And so you definitely want to pay attention to that, especially if you are a man. On the flip side of that, women can also get kidney stones just as easy. So like I said, the percentage was really, really close. But due to dietary choices, it can really enhance and affect kidney stones, especially, acidic foods and things like that, sodas, and all kind of different aspects. But listen, guys, I don't want to ruin all the great information that's inside of this podcast. Again, guys, I really appreciate all the support for Hope with Jonathan. Thanks again for all the subscribers that have came over and subscribed to the YouTube channel. Go check out our website at hopewithjonathan.com. It's been updated. And hey guys, hope you guys are staying safe out there. I am finally feeling a lot better, so appreciate all the prayers and support, all the well wishes. And it's been a real blessing to me, so thank you for everyone out there that have been praying for me. Definitely feeling a lot better after experiencing COVID with the Omicron. And hey guys, y'all take care, stay blessed. Remember to stay safe out there, and definitely take care of your kidneys. Take care. This is Jonathan.
Hey guys, this is Jonathan, the host of the Hope with Jonathan podcast. And hey guys, Hope with Jonathan now has a website, www.hopewithjonathan.com, where you can go over and find out where to follow us on all of our social media links, our podcast, our YouTube channel, and much more. Again, guys, for more information on Hope with Jonathan, you can go to www.hopewithjonathan.com. Hey guys, welcome to Hope with Jonathan. I'm your host, Jonathan Trailer. Hope everyone's having a blessed evening tonight. And I'm glad that you guys have joined us for another incredible show with Hope with Jonathan. Hope you guys will get involved with this show and get engaged and share this out to everyone. If you haven't had a chance to already, please go over and subscribe to us over on YouTube at Hope with Jonathan. We definitely appreciate everyone that has gone over and subscribed. Definitely appreciate you. Guys, tonight we have an incredible show. Tonight we're going to be discussing our topic. It's going to be kidney stones, guys. And listen, if you've ever suffered with kidney stones, you know that kidney stones definitely can be painful and definitely a real problem, okay? And so tonight we're going to get some tips on the do's and don'ts and what to do with dietary choices and things like that. We have a renal dietitian or a kidney dietitian from Instagram that we've connected with, Melanie Betz. Can't wait to bring her on. Just met her backstage just a few moments ago. And you guys, you're in for a real treat. We also have a very special guest to join us tonight, Jen Benson from
Transplant Journey. She's got an incredible story that she wants to share with us with her battle with kidney stones. So, guys, get ready. I hope you guys will get engaged in this. Please share this out there. Get this information out there to the masses. Appreciate everyone for joining in and tuning in to Hope with Jonathan. Jared Brown from the Warriors Quest Show. Brother, appreciate you. KWM, Kyle Hockridge, appreciate you watching. And Shane Blanchard from Midwest Kidney Warriors. What's going on, Shane? Appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. Again, guys, our topic is going to be kidney stones. Also, I wanted to really quickly give you guys the word of the week. So I've been covering these different little topics of word of the week. We started with the letter H was hope, O was opportunity, and tonight we're going to talk about possibilities. So possibilities are endless, right? So if you have a positive attitude and you keep a good mindset, the possibilities are endless for you. And definitely want to take advantage of any opportunity and possibilities of definitely sharing your story. Okay. The more you share your story, you never know where that could turn into a possibility of a potential donor. And so, guys, definitely stay engaged and remember to try to stay as hopeful and as positive as possible. And remember, guys, that word of the week is possibilities. So, again, guys, really appreciate everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it. And let's get this out there. Let's go ahead and bring on our special guest tonight. I hope you guys are ready for this. Let's welcome to the show Melanie Betz and Jen Benson. Hey guys, welcome to Hope with Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
I really appreciate you guys coming on tonight and sharing with us. So I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself. Just tell us a little bit about what you guys do and who you're about and where we can find you and things like that. So why don't we start with our kidney dietitian, Melanie Betz.
Yes. Sorry, it looks like my camera just went off. Let's start.
That's all right. We'll start with Jen. Jen, go ahead.
Okay, sure. Jonathan, thanks again for having me here. I really appreciate it. Basically, kidney and pancreas recipient of 6 years now. And I run a non-for-profit organization based out of Connecticut, but we service the entire country and internationally for all organ disciplines and help people kind of on all aspects of the journey. And really, we have mentors that provide no medical advice or financial support, but really mentor based on their experience that they've had with transplant and help on all aspects what they've been going through and provide support, guidance, and knowledge through empowerment individuals and their family members on what they're going through. And we can be found at transplantjourney.org. We offer a support group on Facebook and also for caregivers as well. And I spent 7 years on dialysis, so I kind of know what it's like. All our warriors have walked the battle themselves, and I think that really is what sets us apart. And it's really hard when you haven't been through it themselves. And that's kind of what the medical community doesn't offer to patients. Their knowledge is endless because of the education that they've been through, but they personally haven't gone through it, so they can't relate. And I think that's one of the hardest parts as patients, what we've been through, because we suffer endlessly. And that was one of the reasons why I created the Transplant Journey, because when I was faced with dialysis choices and the modalities, I really didn't know what they were. And I felt the medical community expected me to have all this information, and I didn't know where to start if it hadn't been for my family. So a lot of people don't have the support of the family that I did. So I wanted to create something out there where they knew where to turn and what resources were legitimate and how to find those resources. So that's how the Transplant Journey was born. And I really wanted to give back. So here we are today. And I appreciate you for having me here. So pass it on to Melanie.
Hey, Melanie.
I'm back. Had to switch over to my phone for whatever reason, but I'm here.
Oh, it's all good. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. So hi everyone. My name's Melanie Betz. I am a registered dietitian, and I specialize in kidney health. So I spend most of my time working at the University of Chicago. That's my full-time job. I work in the section of nephrology there. So I work with patients who have chronic kidney disease, and I also have a special interest in kidney stones. So that's where I spend most of my time. And then I also have a side hustle, which is the Kidney Dietitian, which is how Jonathan found me. And so that is primarily a blog, and you can find me at thekidneydietitian.org. And there I have all sorts of information and recipes for healthy eating, a lot about kidney stones and also about kidney disease. I just felt, I only heard the last part of your story, Jen, but I was sort of inspired to start the Kidney Dietitian because I got so frustrated with patients coming to me with just wrong information. It's so confusing out there on Google for anything kidney related. And maybe I'm biased, but especially what you should be eating. And I was like, I just feel like I have to do something about it. So that's how the Kidney Dietitian was born. And it's honestly was my COVID project. I started my website. I started in April of 2020. I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do with my time. And here we are. So
Awesome.
yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at The Kidney Dietitian. And again, my website is thekidneydietitian.org.
Awesome. I'm glad to have you both here tonight. And, kidney stones, I actually had kidney stones too. And I went through an ordeal with passing kidney stones, and definitely was not fun. Definitely painful, especially, just to say, I'm not saying it's any worse. I'm sure for a female, it's really rough, but for me, it was terrible. And they say for a man, it's like the closest thing to possibly having a child, I guess. I don't know if that's true or not. But
I've heard from female, I haven't had either, full disclosure, kidney stone or childbirth, but I've heard from women who have that it's worse than childbirth. So I don't know.
That's what I've been told as well. When I had mine, they told me, they said it's like childbirth, and I said, oh God, that sounds alarming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was pretty painful. There was some blood involved. And so it was definitely an ordeal. But so, Jen, you experienced problems with kidney stones as well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your kidney stone story?
Yeah, so it was actually, I was a diabetic for over 25 years. And, most people assume it was the diabetes that caused my need for the kidney transplant. And ironically enough, that was not the reason. It was actually a kidney stone that led to my need for the kidney transplant. And it was a kidney stone that actually was lodged in my urethra. That kind of was the demise of the kidney failure. And it ended up, the lodged kidney stone ended up causing septic shock. and all my organs ended up shutting down, and my blood pressure really just tanked so dramatically. It dropped down to 60/40, and they ended up having to give me so much saline in order to bring up my blood pressure to a regular level, that absolutely wiped out my kidney function. And my kidneys were never able to recover from that, because of so many years of being a diabetic, that was what ended up destroying my kidney function. And I ended up, because of that, simultaneously learning that a pancreas transplant was also available. I learned that from my endocrinologist. So it kind of ended up being in my best interest to do a simultaneous kidney and pancreas transplant at the same time. So
Wow.
I ended up with a kidney and pancreas transplant from the same donor.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the kidney stones got so bad and so severe, so literally like your kidney was filled up with stones.
It was actually, believe it or not, it was just one kidney stone
Yeah.
that caused that entire problem. One little
Okay.
kidney stone traveled its way. It was working its way out of my system, but became lodged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Jen, is that the
ultimately,
first time that you'd had a kidney stone?
It was actually the second time I had a
Okay.
kidney stone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The first time I had a kidney stone, unfortunately, they sent me home with the strainer to try and collect the stone. And you might be able to answer this, Melanie, to try and collect it to see what the cause of the stone, or what the composite makeup was of the kidney stone. I guess if it was calcium based or not. At the time, they had blamed it on a possible dehydration because of the diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
But I unfortunately never caught the stone.
Oh,
So they didn't know what the stone consisted of.
yeah.
Because
wow.
my diabetes wasn't, in very good control at the time. I wasn't, I was trying my best to take good care of myself, but it wasn't, great. As we all know, diabetes is very challenging. It's really tough.
Right.
Doing the best I could with, insulin and blood sugar checks and stuff. But, it's a really difficult, challenging disease. But, obviously the dehydration comes with the high sugars and stuff like that, but was never able to check it. So I wasn't sure what it was made of. But
Yeah.
the second time I knew it was a kidney stone. So went to the emergency room, and ended up happening what happened. So we don't really know either time what the stone consisted of. But the second time, my blood sugars were in much better control and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know if it was related to dehydration or what really was the cause of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So about 80% of kidney stones are made of calcium and oxalate. So it's a fairly good guess that was the type. But that being said, uric acid kidney stones are more common in people who have diabetes. So it's hard, I'd be willing to put money on the fact that it might have been calcium oxalate, but possibly uric acid. One thing that either you or anyone who has a kidney stone, honestly, whether you were able to have that stone analyzed or not, is to get a 24-hour urine test. I think that 24-hour urine test is probably honestly even more important than knowing the actual composition of your stone. Both are important if you can, but if you miss the chance to analyze it, you can have that 24-hour urine test, which gives you a ton of information about basically your future risk of having kidney stones. So they measure the amount of oxalate in your urine, how much urine there is, to see how concentrated it is. Again, that dehydration kind of coming in there, how much calcium and uric acid and all sorts of different stuff. All of these things that sort of could increase your risk of stones. And this test is so important because it really is key to help you and your doctors and your dietitians know what you can do to prevent more stones from happening. So that is something, Jen, you could certainly do, or anyone out there listening who has had kidney stones and haven't had that 24-hour urine test. I would definitely advocate for yourself and ask your doctor for that test.
That's really helpful. Now,
Mhm.
now
Yeah.
I know some of the rumors. You talked about rumors that go around.
So many.
There's a huge myth, and maybe you can kind of help clarify this myth, because I know with a lot of diabetics, which is associated with kidney disease, one of them that goes around and it makes me crazy is lemonade.
So yes, as most things, there is a hint of truth in that. But I don't think that everyone should be drinking a ton of lemonade. Lemonade specifically is not great for people with diabetes or kidney stones because of all the sugar. So
Exactly.
obviously diabetes, that's obvious, but sugar also actually increases your risk of kidney stones and general health problems, right? So we want to try to stay away from that sugar. The hint of truth that is in that is that lemon juice has a lot of something called citrate in it. And citrate, when there's enough of it in your urine, it can actually inhibit kidney stones from forming. So we want high levels of citrate in our urine. But the thing is, in order to really get enough citrate from lemon juice to really move the needle in terms of the amount of citrate in your urine, you have to be drinking somewhere around half a cup of lemon juice a day. So like, that's a lot of lemon juice. So doing like a wedge here and there, it's fine. Like, it's not going to hurt you. And if it, makes things tasty and helps you drink more water, that's great. But it's not really going to give you that citrate that you need to really to increase urine levels. Honestly, the best way to get citrate is fruits and vegetables. Literally every single fruit or vegetable is going to have citrate. And the more that you eat, the more citrate is going to be in your urine. And we see that in studies. The people who eat more fruits and vegetables, no matter what kind they are, tend to have lower risk of kidney stones. So instead of trying to down tons of lemon juice or lemonade, just say eat your fruits and vegetables. It's not very
There you
exciting,
go.
but it's true.
Oh, that's some great tips right there. That's some great information.
Yeah.
So, Melanie, I know that this is aside from diet, but I wanted to know, and for our viewers out there, what exactly is a kidney stone made of?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So kidney stones can be made of, there's three different main kinds of kidney stones. The most common one is that calcium oxalate. So about 80%, like I said, pretty much 80% of stones are made of literally just calcium and this molecule called oxalate in your urine. Those molecules love to bind. And so when they're concentrated enough in your urine, so either there's too much of those things or you are dehydrated and aren't drinking enough water, those things become more concentrated. And those things are just more likely to bind and form a kidney stone. So calcium oxalate is the most common one. And then there's also uric acid stones, which are actually usually caused by very low urine pH. So that's having way too much acid in your urine is sort of the number one risk factor for those uric acid stones. And then the third kind is calcium phosphate. And those are, just like it sounds, made of calcium and phosphate.
Okay, great. Thanks for explaining that to me, because honestly, I had no clue exactly what they were made of, and are they mainly developed through dietary choices?
Yes, it's hard to say. We actually don't really know like what percent of kidney stones are a result of diet, but we do know that diet has a really big role to play in the prevention and formation for many people. Primarily, actually, the biggest things nutritionally that would increase your risk of stones, and this is something that many of us are doing, is not drinking enough water. That's probably number one. And then the second thing is actually eating way too much salt. So we know that eating a lot of salt isn't good for kidneys for lots of reasons, but yet another reason is that a high salt diet increases your risk of stones. And then I would say the third thing that is oftentimes a big cause is not getting in enough calcium. So people who don't eat enough calcium-rich foods also tend to have a higher risk of calcium stones, which I know is sort of counterintuitive, but I promise you It's true. So yeah, so not drinking enough water, too much salt, not enough calcium. There's lots of other things like eating way too much protein could increase your risk of stones, eating too much sugar, potentially taking in very, very large doses of oxalate. So if you are doing like tons of green smoothies and like sort of downing spinach all the time, or sometimes taking supplements that are like, sometimes you can get supplements that are like vegetable powder. Basically, it's just like a super, super concentrated form of those oxalates. That can sometimes be a concern as well. So, yeah, so there's lots of different things in your diet, but I think those three big ones are what tend to come up most often. All that being said, there's definitely things, other health conditions that just make kidney stones way more likely. And that's not to say that diet isn't important for those people, but diet isn't the cause necessarily of stones in those situations. So, for example, people who have hyperparathyroidism are very likely to have kidney stones because of high urine calcium levels. Another group of people that I think that we don't realize is that people who have had bariatric or some kind of weight loss surgery are also at a very high risk of having kidney stones as well. And actually, unfortunately, kidney failure as a result of those kidney stones as well. So yeah, kidney stones are confusing. There's lots of different aspects to think about.
Can your body just naturally make them? I mean, without poor dietary choices or any of the factors that you talked about?
I think usually there's some reason why. Usually there's some underlying disease, or you are eating a poor diet. I think there is something called idiopathic hypercalciuria. So that's basically an unknown cause of high urine calcium, which is very common. But if you were eating a healthy diet, then that's one of the best things that you can do to help control those high urine calcium levels. So I don't know, it's hard to say, like maybe, but usually there's some sort of other thing going on that's causing that stone. It's not just your body just wants to make them. Usually there's some disease process or some dietary indiscretions.
Well, we want to send a shout out to everybody that's watching. Sam Day showed up, so shout out to Sam. Hey, Sam. And my wife, Melissa, showed up. So, hey, Melissa, appreciate you watching. Someone here, I'm not sure who it is because it just says Facebook user. I'm going to throw it up on the screen. Says they had a question. What caused the kidney stone? I was drinking a lot of energy drinks, like 4 a day, and I have cut back a lot. So are energy drinks a main cause of kidney stones, possibly?
I think they could be, yes, primarily because of all that sugar. Energy drinks have a lot of sugar in them. And so that could be the cause. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Jen.
I was going to add something also, Jonathan. I know one of the offers I got for a kidney at one point when I was waiting that came in was a horseshoe-shaped kidney, which I had never heard of. And one of the risks, I know that it never panned out for me, was you're at an increased risk for kidney stones if you do have a horseshoe-shaped kidney.
Okay.
And so I know that's something genetically, I guess.
It's funny you brought that up. My friend, I don't think he'd mind me sharing this. Anthony Reed, he's the CEO of Kidney Trails. He's got a website for blogging and things like that. He was actually born, I think, with a horse-shaped kidney. And ultimately, it ended up failing him, and he ended up on dialysis and needing a transplant. So that's actually an interesting fact, because before I'd never heard of a horse-shaped kidney until he brought it up to me and told me about his story. And so that's a unique thing, though. Horse-shaped kidney. So how important is diet when you're talking about dealing with kidney stones? How important is it for kidney patients who are diagnosed with kidney stones to follow a really strict diet?
I think it's very important. I will say that it's not super strict. It's actually way more in line with kind of like general healthy eating and what all of us should probably be doing anyway.
Sure.
And so I don't want to scare people away and say that it's this super strict and you can never eat anything again. I'm definitely a dietitian that believes every single food can fit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I think that for everyone, you at least want to get that 24-hour urine test. Again, I have to put a plug in for that,
Yeah.
to make sure that that you are kind of doing everything that you can nutritionally to prevent kidney stones. And those kidney stones, I think, are motivation to make these healthy diet changes, right? So, yeah, I think it's definitely important.
Yeah. It's funny how it comes back to urine test, even with kidney disease, that word, those words, getting a urine sample, it's something that definitely is needed. Seems like even more, because a lot of doctors just do a blood sample and sometimes they're not looking for some of the key factors of kidney disease and things get missed. And I really think if they implemented a urine test at the same time, a urine analysis, same time as the blood sample, a lot of these cases of kidney failure and things like that could be prevented had people know that they had kidney disease a lot earlier. And I'm sure the same thing with the progression of kidney stones.
Yeah, I think that for kidney disease, looking at specifically protein in the urine is so important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I think, that's one of the really great things about the work that you're doing, Jonathan, is that we can educate people to know your numbers, to ask your doctor, hey, how my kidneys doing? Like, do I have protein in my urine? And, being an active part of your healthcare team is really important.
Yeah. Well, prevention is key, and I learned that the hard way. With my story of ended up crashing into an emergency situation with kidney failure. It was not a fun experience. So, any way we can spread awareness and educate people on kidney disease I'm going to do every bit I can to help somebody, because I definitely don't want to see anybody do the way that I did it. And I had a doctor tell me, you did everything backwards. So I surely did. And I had no education on kidney disease whatsoever. I mean, I didn't even know what dialysis was. And I woke up on a dialysis machine. But fast forward now, I'm now 13 months transplant patient. I spent around thank you, Jen. I spent about 12 months doing 13 months, I think, doing dialysis. So I've learned a lot over that course of time, and definitely the phrase that we hear all the time in the kidney community: "You are your own best advocate." Yep. And you got to educate yourself. You got to learn as much as you can about this disease and be mindful of it. And I think kidney stones is definitely something that people need to be aware of too. Let me ask you this, Melanie, really quickly: is kidney stone a precursor of possible kidney failure?
Possibly, in rare circumstances. So having kidney stones does increase your risk of having kidney disease. It does. It doesn't happen to most people though. So yeah, I suppose we can say that it's a somewhat rare complication of kidney stones. And it generally gets more likely the more stones you have and the bigger they are. You think about those stones kind of moving through your kidney. It's gonna damage it somewhat every time, right? And so if there's a higher stone burden, there's more scarring, more damage, and then you're more likely to have some sort of reduced kidney function.
Great. That's great info.
Melanie, can I ask a question? Can
Sure.
you go into the science behind, a lot of people are big believers in cranberry pills and treating, kidney infections and stuff like that.
Yeah. So there is some research to show that cranberry juice or cranberry supplements can help UTIs primarily. That's what I'm most familiar with. But for kidney stones, it's actually not the case. If anything, actually, it could sometimes make them worse. We see that people, specifically juice, again, because of that sugar increases.
Yeah.
But even cranberry supplements, there's just no research that I'm aware of that shows that cranberry is good for kidney stones.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a good question. If anything, so most of us have too much acid in our urine. We have a very low urine pH, which increases your risk definitely of those uric acid stones and somewhat those calcium oxalate stones as well. And cranberry can actually acidify your urine even more. And so that is one of the reasons that it could actually, maybe, this is very small research studies, but could maybe actually make kidney stones worse if you do in fact have that low urine pH. So so cranberry, I really generally wouldn't recommend for people with kidney stones. So it's sort of like that myth busting, like you mentioned earlier.
Right,
There's so many. I feel like in kidney health, the kidney nutrition in general, there are so many things. You Google watermelon is the cure and kidney beans are the cure, and like none of that is true. It's all about healthy eating patterns. There's no single food that's going to make or break you. It's all about making healthy choices a majority of the time and looking at your sort of whole nutrition pattern of what you're eating.
I think moderation is so key in
Absolutely.
all of this.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Is it the vitamin C possibly inside of the cranberry juice?
That's a good point. We know that vitamin C supplements specifically should definitely be avoided for people who have kidney stones. And the reason for that is because your liver can actually make oxalate pretty readily from that vitamin C supplement. And we generally don't see that with foods, like people who eat oranges, for example, that actually have a reduced risk of kidney stones, if anything. But in a juice form, maybe there is such a high amount, potentially, maybe. I think generally we think it's more the sugar and then that acidification of the urine, but maybe vitamin C too. I don't know, possibly.
Yeah, it's funny y'all mentioned cranberry juice because when I was starting to have urinary tract infections as a man, the first thing I would reach for was cranberry juice, and I would usually drink like the whole bottle. Like I would just be sipping out of the bottle to try to anything to help. Right? I thought I was helping. I probably was making it worse, I guess. And of course, this was a UTI, but eventually I actually found out I had kidney stones too. So I was probably doing worse to my body than what I was helping, right?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Lots of sugar.
I think you become so desperate for whatever you hear, whatever fix you can get your hands on.
Yep.
You panic and you think you're doing whatever you possibly can to resolve your body, and you're looking for a quick fix. So, you're grabbing at straws, really.
Exactly. You're looking for that quick fix to ease the pain or get rid of the infection or whatever it is. So, how common are kidney stones?
So somewhere around 1 in 10 will have a kidney stone at some point in their life. So pretty common, 10%.
1 in 10. Wow.
And they're increasing. Prevalence of kidney stones is increasing. And recurrence is also pretty high. Gosh, you're bringing me back to the numbers, but I believe that somewhere around 50% of people who have a kidney stone will have another one within 5 years.
Wow.
So if you, it's either 5 or 10, don't quote me on that, but it's surprisingly high. And so that's where prevention again is so important. If you know that you've had one, be proactive, ask what you can do about it. Ask for that 24-hour urine. Please don't take a generic kidney stone diet handout from your doctor. A kidney stone diet doesn't exist. It has to be similar to kidney disease. It's individualized to you, your what's going on in that 24-hour urine test, the type of kidney stone you have, if you also have diabetes or kidney disease and all that stuff. So again, be your advocate, because there is things that you can do to help prevent that from happening again.
And let's talk a little bit about symptoms. So what are some symptoms that we should look for?
Yeah. So the most common one is the most famous one is that pain, right? Usually, we refer to it as flank pain. Jen, you can describe it if you'd like.
Oh, I don't even want to relive it. It was awful. It was
Yeah.
horrific.
Yeah. Pain, where your kidneys are, right? So like lower back, but you can also have pain, like sort of lower, like around your urethra or something like that. But generally the flank pain is what people describe.
Yeah.
Blood in your urine, painful urination. If things get really bad and the kidney stone gets infected, you can also then have like fever and chills and those types of things.
Yeah. I have one word for you, razor blades. I guess that's two words. Razor blades. Oh, it was painful.
Yeah.
So we got a good question here. Do you find kidney stones more common in women or men?
So they are more common in men, but they are, as I said, the prevalence of kidney stones is increasing overall, and it's increasing faster in women than it is in men. So women are sort of, unfortunately, quickly approaching the equal prevalence as men, but as of right now, they are still more common in men.
Is that due to like the testosterone or what do you think the
That is
factor is for men?
That is a good question, and I am actually not sure.
Yeah.
I do not know the answer to that. I'll have to get back to you.
Well, no, that I understand. I kind of caught you off guard with that one.
No worries.
Well, I may have
No
to
worries.
Google that one later.
I will. I'll have to Google it myself. Maybe I'll write a post about it.
That's a great question. Thank you, Gene, and I appreciate you tuning in to our show. And again, guys, I really want to appreciate everyone for tuning in and sharing this and getting it out there. And this is some awesome information. Anybody out there that's ever battled kidney stones know that they're no joke.
Oh.
And you definitely want to listen to some of these tips in here if you've ever battled them, or if you never want to ever battle them, then possibly pick up on some of these tips. So we spoke about prevention, and now we've talked about symptoms. What about treatments? What kind of treatments are out there for kidney stones?
So, depending on the size and composition and location of your stone, those are kind of the things that your urologist will look at to see what the best course of action is. If the stone is smaller, then generally the treatment is just let it pass. Just kind of wait, bear down, and wait for it to pass, unfortunately. But if the stone is larger or in a location where it is more dangerous or those types of things, then they can kind of go in with shock waves and like break it up with shock waves. And then you would just pass those smaller fragments of the stone, or potentially go in and surgically remove as well. So,
Wow.
Yeah. Did you? Oh, am I back?
Oh, yep.
Yeah, we froze up just for a
Um,
second. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. I'm not sure what you heard, but essentially there's that shockwave therapy where they go in and like kind of break it up with a laser essentially, and you pass those fragments, or you can surgically remove it. Did either of you have a procedure to remove the stone, or did it just, well, Jen, we know how yours ended up, but maybe your first one, or Jonathan, did you have any procedure?
No, I just passed them, and then yeah, I don't recommend that because it was, oh God, it was painful. But yeah, that's what happened to me. I passed them the natural way.
Yeah, that's what happens most of the time.
Yeah. Well, again, I really appreciate both of you coming on the show tonight. It's been incredible. Lots of great information has been shared. And if you had like a message to send anybody out there that's being diagnosed with possible kidney stones, to maybe encourage them, what kind of message would you leave for them?
So I would say ask for that 24-hour urine test. I'm begging you. And also ask to see a dietitian. If you're interested in making dietary changes for kidney stone prevention, that's really going to be the best person to help you learn what you can do based on your body to help stop those stones from forming, and be your best advocate, because who else will?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Jen, you have anything for anybody out there?
Yeah, I would agree with Melanie. Absolutely. I think being your best advocate is key on all fronts when it comes to your health. Whether it's rated to your health, transplant, looking for a living kidney donor, liver donor, anything really, chronic illness on all aspects, whether it's for you or a family member or a friend. Really, that's number one. Your health is key to happiness on all regard. If you don't have health, you really don't have anything. So.
Oh, absolutely. Health is wealth, right? So, well, we really appreciate all the information that's been shared. Definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching the show and interacting, asking some great questions. Um, so we'll definitely be Google searching this one here for about the men and women, and why men is so prevalent in men versus women. I'll definitely be checking that one out. And like Kyle said, you know what? I think you're right, Kyle. We may have to bring them back for a part 2, because this was, it's hard to fit this all within an hour. Believe it or not, we've been going almost 45 minutes. So, but lots of information, lots of great info has been shared. So, like I said, we'll invite you back again sometime soon and do another show on this if you'd like. And it was definitely awesome. And again, guys, you guys need to go over and check out the Kidney Dietitian over on Instagram. I've already flashed her website up plenty of times, the kidneydietitian.org. And also go over and check out what Jen Benson is doing with the Transplant Journey. You can check out her website as well, www.transplantjourney.org as well. And any closing words, any shout outs you guys want to give before we close out the show tonight?
No, I'm just going to say, Melanie, it was great. I think that information you gave regarding the urine analysis, that was a huge help. I wish I had known about that after my first run-in with the kidney stone. That would have been absolutely so helpful for me to be on the lookout for the future of stones. So I don't know if it existed back then, but I would absolutely recommend that. And I will recommend that to patients with the transplant journey as well. So I'm really appreciative of that. So that's a great heads up for people. So thank you for mentioning that.
Of course. There's actually, I recently posted an article about that 24-hour urine test on my blog. And it kind of talks about why it's important, but also kind of points out the highlights of the test that you can look for. So if anyone, because there's a lot of numbers on there and there's just a lot of information. So I tried to kind of break it down and help you kind of make sense of some of the important numbers. So it's FYI that resource exists on my website too.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
And I just want to say thank you for having me. It's always so fun to meet people. It's nice to meet both of you, Jonathan and Jen, today. And if anyone has questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. You can join my email list. I send out a newsletter with all sorts of kidney friendly nutrition. Follow me on Instagram, and I would love to connect with you.
Awesome. Yeah, I signed up as well. So I got a email not too long ago,
Nice.
right before the show, I think.
Nice.
With a snack list.
Oh, yes. You just signed up then. Yeah, you can grab my free kidney friendly snack list.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really cool. Well, again, guys, really appreciate you tuning in to Hope with Jonathan. It's been a great interview tonight. Lots of great information has been shared, and we definitely got to do this again really soon. And I appreciate my
nice to meet you.
Oh, it's really nice to meet you too. And it's really nice having the always lovely Miss Jen Benson. So appreciate you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Yep. And again, guys, you'll find all the description inside of the description in the YouTube video. I'll definitely have both of their websites on there in case you guys want to connect. and look for them on social media as well. And again, guys, we really appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you guys stay safe out there. Remember to stay safe and be safe, out there with the COVID and all that. And God bless you, and take care of your kidneys.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Hey guys, have you checked out Kidney Conversations, a new series brought to you by host Hope with Jonathan and KWM's Kidney Warrior merch, Kyle Hawkers from Toronto, Canada. Yes, it's a brand new series brought to you by us for you as the kidney patient. We're trying to inform, educate, and inspire by sharing and spreading awareness for kidney disease, dialysis, kidney failure, transplant, organ donation, and so much more. This is a brand new series, guys, brought to you by Hope with Jonathan and Kidney Warrior merch. What we're going to do is post weekly on our pages across social media. Right now it's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then on Friday, we'll be releasing an informative video over on Hope with Jonathan. Check it out, guys. kidneyconversations.info. Thanks again for tuning in to the Hope with Jonathan podcast. Really appreciate our guest, Jen Benson, and the kidney dietitian, Melanie Betz. It was really lots of great information shared on this podcast. Very informative, talking about kidney stones. And, after the podcast, as you guys have, probably already know, we did answer the question, can kidney stones cause kidney failure? And the answer is yes. Ultimately, kidney stones can do damage to the kidneys and definitely ultimately can cause kidney failure. So you definitely have to stay on top of kidney stones, learn how to manage the kidney stones, learn how to manage your diet, things like that, and definitely stay on top of them because they definitely can do damage to your kidneys. Unfortunately, due to the large percentage, and the statistics do show that once you experience kidney stones, you're more than likely to have a repeat episode. So you definitely want to keep that in mind. And but man, what a great podcast. Lots of great information shared. Hope you guys have had a chance to check us out over on YouTube at Hope with Jonathan. Follow us across our social media platforms as well. Facebook at Hope with Jonathan, Instagram Hope with Jonathan, Twitter Hope with Jonathan, and we have a few other channels. We're on LinkedIn as well, so you can find us over there on LinkedIn. I have a Tumblr account that I'm kind of trying to build. We're also on TikTok as well. You can find us over there. We're doing some videos regarding kidney disease, dialysis, transplant, kidney disease awareness, all kind of stuff that we're trying to cover over there on TikTok as well. So you can find us at Hope with Jonathan. Thanks again, guys, for all your support. God bless you guys. Stay safe out there. Remember definitely to take care of your kidneys. God bless. Take care. This is Jonathan.